Hey guys, it's Jennifer Don Gabiola. Hope you're having a good Friday. I wanted to hop on super fast. I felt inspired to talk about shared a post. Um, and this post, I felt really divinely moved to share it. It felt very honest and truthful. And from the text I shared to the image, it was like right on my creative edge. I could feel like some fear around it, but it felt like it was definitely something I needed to share. So I shared it, and it was a picture of me wearing a brown top and jeans and kind of looking off to the side. I was wearing like the vintage heels that I shared recently, and then this brown top. And I really talked about how I could have all the excuses in the world to not be successful, being 45, being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, being an introvert, that I don't really, I need a lot of quiet time, and so many things in my past. I've experienced a lot of stuff, in my past that I could use as an excuse to hold me back. But what I've learned, at this age, just through my experience, is that it's all meant to serve me. It's all meant to help me grow, and I meant to actually share my journey. So that was the first thing I wanted to share with you. I titled this "Leverage That Ish" and win your race. I always talk about the turtle way. The turtle way is like slow and steady wins the race, right? But I really felt led to talk about how in this race that there's no other competition, just you against you. And it's so important for you to like own your story. Like all the things that I talked about in that post, I shared it in our Quiet Voice Big Impact community, but I also shared it in other groups. And what's interesting, before I go into more in depth, I just wanted to, that post resonated with so many people across the board. I shared it on my personal page, several Facebook groups that were more like business related, but I shared it because I felt moved to share it. I shared it in our Quiet Voice Big Impact community Facebook group, and I mean, I think it was like in total over almost 800 likes and hundreds of comments, hundreds. And I tend to get high engagement when I share, but this felt so electric and alive in my spirit. Again, I felt excited, but also there's a fear. So it was like right on my creative edge, right? It was like, if I share it, that fear is like, oh my God, what's going to happen if I share it? But I felt more inspired and moved to do it. And I did. And I feel like why it's resonating so much is that there is a deep like honesty, truthfulness, and an unapologeticness to it. Because I shared it really for me. So I wasn't really attached with like, oh, I hope people like it, or I hope people don't think this or whatever. Because the photo itself, I was wearing a top that was kind of like, it's like showing my midriff. It was a little kind of open here. So I shared, the image had a lot more skin than I normally share, but it's so effing hot in Houston. So anyway, but that, when I was thinking about, okay, I want to share this post and I want to share this image, there was a congruency between the text and the image because it felt so resonant and alive for me. And there was an honesty and a truthfulness to it. So I really feel like that's why it's resonating so much, because, when I talk about like, I really could have used all these things as excuses to not be successful. Being in my 40s, I've had many times where I'm like, I don't know, am I getting too old to try to like do my own thing? Should I just go back to corporate? But what I realized is that being in my 40s, now 45, there's a wisdom, there's a deep groundedness and wisdom, and I feel so much more at ease and at home in my own body now than I ever have. And so that wisdom came with age. So now I don't have shame around that, but it did, you know. And then talking about, you know, when I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, that gave me a lot of shame for many, many years, because I blamed myself for getting myself sick. But through my inner work, I've learned to forgive myself and change my habits, change my diet, you know, change how I talk to myself, much more gentle and kind. And so now I see my journey, you know, having to deal with chronic pain as more of an unexpected blessing. It has helped me appreciate my body, appreciate my spirit, my character, the fact that I can continue to see life through the lens of grace and not feel victimized. I mean, I know 100% if I didn't go through this chronic illness, I would be a different person, because it's really humbled me a lot to really recognize what's most important. And then also identifying as an introvert, like I could totally say like, oh no, I don't really like being around people, so I don't know if I'd be really good as an entrepreneur. But I really feel like, because as an introvert, I deeply tap into myself, my own alignment. I have a rich inner world. I process life so deeply. I have deep compassion and empathy for other people. Of course, I have to have clear boundaries, but it's just like, that's a strength. I have many, as introverts, we have many superpowers. So seeing that as a strength and not as an excuse to hide, like, no, I just don't like being around people, so I can't. It's like, I really feel like it's about creating connection and intimacy. And that's what I really feel like life is, people are really craving anyway, that deep, real connection. And then like the stuff in my past, you know, I've had my fair share of like loss and heartbreak and betrayal and all of that. I'm human, you know, but again, those times have been very difficult, and I give myself the space and the grace to feel those things, the hard things, and I choose to use it to my benefit. That's why I titled this, you know, leverage that ish, you know, and win your race, because your life is your content. Like, own your story. If I could give you a couple tips around this, it's like, own your story, right? Your story is not just for you. Like, really see your story as a blessing, even if it was difficult, because you can receive blessings in anything you go through. You just have to really allow yourself to receive it. And then the second tip is just share without apology. You know, don't get attached to like, oh, I wonder if people will like this. You know, it doesn't really matter if you're sharing something that feels really deeply aligned and alive for you. And you know it's meant to like help people, because really your journey, your testimony is not just for you. All the stuff I've gone through, I know, you know, I feel grateful that I've gone through it, and I know that me sharing is an act of service. Me showing up fully, regardless of all the challenges I've gone through in the past, that's meant to serve other people who are also on a similar journey. So that's what I want to encourage you to know, that, you know, being visible online, especially as an introvert, on one hand can be draining, but when you start to reframe that and understand that, okay, I'm no longer going to tie up my energy in people pleasing and needing other people's validation and being the good girl and wanting everyone's like to like me and approve of me, and not forgiving myself and not forgiving others. So there's many deeper reasons why we feel drained. And the more we can liberate ourselves from those things within ourselves and really accept that we are here on this earth for a deep, divine purpose that is connected to all of us. Me showing up, I know that me talking to you is not just for me. Like, there are people who are meant to hear this message. So I firmly and deeply believe that me showing up, why it gives me life, why it gives me energy, is because I know that me showing up consistently is helping to serve others who are also going through similar situations. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. If you haven't seen the post, so definitely check it out, because it's like there's there's an honesty and truthfulness, and again, a fearless, like unapologeticness that I feel like, I think that's why it's resonating so much, because there's no pretense to it. It's just honest. You know, I'm not trying to lecture anyone or try to present myself as some glossy, like, you know, it's just me authentically. So that's what I encourage you to do, is like give yourself permission to show up and show up as you authentically, and communicate in a way where there's no filter. It's just, you're just speaking your truth. So I hope this resonates with you. I did feel like I should follow up to that post, because literally I shared that on last Sunday and I'm still getting comments. It's almost a week. You know, I'd say this post has been like the highest engaged post I've ever shared. But I feel like this is an indication, a sign. I feel like God is saying, keep moving in this direction. Share from this type of truthfulness, honesty, and just knowing who you are and knowing that you're enough, and showing up consistently. Again, it's an act of service. So I hope this has served you today. And if you want to connect and you want to maybe get some support on being able to be visible in a way that really feels deeply aligned with you, so you feel liberated to share. You know, you're not feeling like you have to filter yourself, but you're doing it in a way where it's not draining, but you're you know, consistently sharing your values, so the right people, you know, are drawn to you energetically and naturally. I invite you to schedule a complimentary discovery call with me. You can email me at info@dawningsoul.com or send me a private message. I just want to let you know, like, it's totally possible to be visible online in a way that gives you life, and not this like to-do list, like I have to like check it off the box so people don't forget about me. There's a way where you can cut through the noise of all the clutter online and make an impact by being exactly who you are. So I'm a testimony to that. So I hope this has served you, and I will talk with you next week. Bye, guys.